What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, an interesting video for you here on the channel. Today is who will dethrone all the current champions. Now, my setup's different. I have this in a couple videos. Oh my gosh, I just realized this is like knocked down. I have to like set that reset that up. I have multiple screens, but this is officially the setup. I actually got a new stand and everything, so now camera and everything looking good. But today we are talking about who will dethrone all the current champions. I want to make this before SummerSlam so we can talk about SummerSlam a little bit, because SummerSlam, it's a big event, 2-night event. It's the biggest for WrestleMania, or after WrestleMania. And today we're going to be talking about a lot of the champions that could dethrone, or a lot of people that could dethrone these champions that are scheduled to have matches at SummerSlam. So let's get started. Talking about John Cena. Who do I think? Cody Rhodes. Now, this isn't my SummerSlam predictions, but, you know, a lot of these, there's SummerSlam matches that I'll throw out some ideas that maybe entice. I almost said entices you to go and watch my SummerSlam predictions. I think there's a big double turn that could come. I mean, The Rock would make a lot of sense to help Cody Rhodes, but because he hasn't been involved in this story, I don't really want him to be here. But the Cody Rhodes is who I have to probably dethrone him at SummerSlam, and if not, then I expect him to at some point pick it up for probably, I would say he would pick it up at least by the retirement at like the last match or at the last match. Dark horse Seth Rollins could cash in at any time. Another dark horse I want to mention that I don't have on this list is Randy Orton. I just think it makes a lot of sense to get him the title, but don't think that will happen. Tiffany Stratton, I think, will lose at SummerSlam to Jade Cargill. There's a lot of championship switches I am predicting because it just makes a lot of sense. I believe that Jade Cargill is just too young, and I think has had these great matches, and I think has had these, I was going to say has had a lot of squashes, but not really. I was going to say has a lot of matches that she's won that has given her a lot of momentum to win it. Do I think it's kind of inevitable and that's why this feud hasn't been great? Probably, but maybe it's because they're two baby faces. But I'm really hoping Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill have a great match, but I think Jade Cargill is winning it and then maybe dropping it to as a babyface. Probably going to hold it till WrestleMania is what I pick. If that doesn't happen, I think a Becky Lynch without the IC title could be the one to steal it from Tiffany Stratton, or maybe that's a match that they kind of already plan after this if she would retain, so that she can keep going for these legend and be on this legend killer run like a Randy Orton. Now, no way my full headset just broke, and it's back. Let's go back to this. I do believe that Becky Lynch is probably destined to win another WWE title coming up soon. Kind of just win is really kind of the point I'm at with this. It feels like it should be soon, probably after maybe WrestleMania, but this could be the WrestleMania match for Tiffany Stratton, and maybe that's when Becky wins. Up next, Solo Sikoa. I truthfully believe it's more than likely Jacob Fatu winning again, or it's Jacob Fatu retaining, or Solo Sikoa retaining and Jacob Fatu's in the future. I just think that they need to get that title back on Jacob Fatu. I think Solo Sikoa had his good run with it, but 2 losses in a row. What did I just hear? Is that my cat, or did I just hear? What did I just hear? But 2 losses in a row. To me, it just feels like they're setting up for Jacob Fatu to win. But I go back and forth on this one because to me, I think he's going to win at Solo Sikoa might win at SummerSlam, and then Jacob Fatu wins later on in the future. Dark horse Jimmy Uso. I thought it made sense for Jimmy Uso to be the one to get it from Solo Sikoa, but how the story's been going, I don't know how they would do it, and I don't know how they would try and write off Jacob Fatu with him not going for the U.S. title and stuff like that. So we'll see on that one. But that's kind of an iffy situation for me. Now, Julia has won in Saudi, and we're kind of going to talk about who I think. I think I've already done a Dethrone video. I have done a Dethrone video on her, but I don't think I've done her in the Dethrone video. Maybe I have. Ultimately, I think she's going to keep this title for a while. I hope she doesn't lose to Zelina Vega. I hope this is her keeping this title for a long, long time. Like, I'm talking WrestleMania, and that's when she drops it. So this title actually looks legitimate, and Julia just goes on a insane spree with the U.S. title. I have Alexa Bliss here. I think she's way too over to not win. I think it makes sense, and I think for a main eventer to go after Julia at WrestleMania for the U.S. title just makes too much sense. So I am going with Alexa Bliss to go against Julia, and then my dark horse is going to be Asuka. I think those are the two that I see winning singles gold in the mid card coming up here soon. I just don't know when it's going to happen. So with the new announced TLC match, it feels like the Wyatt Six should lose there. And here's why. Because I think there's not a way that they can pin them, and it makes sense to get pinned for the Wyatt Six. I think having them lose this TLC match could be great for them losing. But at the same time, they kind of just want it. I don't want them to just lose it. But they could tell a real good story of maybe somebody sneaking in, winning, and then holding it in. And then the Wyatt Six ultimately keeping to go after them and then win it back again. But I really just believe that the Wyatt Six, I think personally, should lose. So that because it's going to be a little too OP for them. And I have Fraxium being the one to dethrone them at SummerSlam. I think that makes sense. I think it could tell a good story of a TLC match. And then the new young upcomers are the ones to steal it rather than the Wyatt Six retaining it, because possibly every single team is too focused on them that the Fraxium just grabs it. Dark horse for me, though, is Motor City Machine Guns. I think that they deserve the titles coming up here soon. And I think because the Wyatt Six are somewhat of a heel now, I think the babyface Wyatt Six or babyface Motor City Machine Guns going against and Fraxium make just too much sense. Up next is Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. I do believe that they're going to lose at SummerSlam. I know there's a lot I'm saying to lose at SummerSlam. We'll see. I think a full championship reset could happen. We'll see on that, though. Roxanne and Raquel, time's up. The way to overdo of Flair and Bliss are on the way, and I think it is almost a guarantee for them to win at this point. I would be kind of shocked if they retain, truthfully, because of how over this two duo is. And then dark horses, I had the Bella Twins, but they're not coming up anymore. I thought Stephanie Vaquer was going to be on the SummerSlam card. Didn't happen. Nikki Bella's not even on the SummerSlam card, I kind of realized, unless they add a match. Oh my god, my back. But we'll see on that, because I don't think that's going to happen. Up next, we're talking about NXT Obafemi, who I think maybe there's a recent hint that's come up, but I think Javon Evans should be the one to steal and win against Obafemi. I really do believe so. I just think that he's so young. He needs a title, and I think being the one to dethrone Obafemi, it just makes way too much sense. I thought it was North American title. I think this is it. Jasper Troy is somebody I think is really over and starting to get some real momentum against an Obafemi for his height as well, and his kind of stature that goes against an Obafemi. That it would be a big push for LFG to have him go after and go win against Obafemi. I think a North American title makes more sense. But I like his odds. I like his odds. JC Jane won against Masha Slamovich, who could have been the new NXT title holder. I said ultimately no, and it was correct. I think they're telling a long game story of Jordynne Grace winning this title, because I think this is the one that makes the most sense. Not a Jada Parker, not a Lash Legend. Lash Legend I do like, though. I think it really is ultimately going to be Jordynne Grace to win it, and then they'll tell a longer story of Blake Monroe, and she'll be the one that could steal it from JC Jane, but it just makes way too much sense that the babyface that's gone backstab, that's overcome it all, and Jordynne Grace is going to be the one to win it off JC Jane. That's how I kind of see it right now. Up next, Ethan Page, who I switched it. I think it's going to be Miles Bourne now. I think with Javon Evans, who's my dark horse, I think he's ready for a title. Not going after titles, and it looks like he's going to go after the NXT title, in my opinion. Miles Bourne just makes way too much sense to be the one to win it. Does it not? I mean, now not part of the NQCC. On his own, really over with fans, had a great matchup with Femi. I think they're just delaying the inevitable of him stealing this title from Ethan Page, to be honest with you. Up next, we have Sol Ruca. I still feel like it's going to be Zarya at the end of the day. Maybe there's something where it's not a title and they have a beef match and it's not title related. I think it should be. But I have Jada Parker here. I think her as the heel would work well to get this North American title. I want to do Lash Legend, but again, I don't feel like it makes sense for her and Sol Ruca go against each other. Maybe Izzy Dame in the future. Don't really like that one. I think that's another one that I don't think is going to actually happen. Up next, Hank and Tank. Now, I think they have not booked this tag team division as great as they should have. I still believe it's going to be Dark State at the end of the day because it's a dark, menacing group. Yes, they've been a part of TNA a lot recently, which could affect this prediction, but I also have the calling still here. I just feel like these are the two dark grimace groups that just make too much sense to not, or to win the titles from the Hank and Tank, because Hank and Tank is so over as baby faces that it really feels like it has to be one of those groups, right? Right? We'll see. Gunther. I think it's going to be CM Punk at SummerSlam. I think they are shifting gears where Punk is going to win the title at SummerSlam, and then randomly on a PLE, Seth Rollins is going to cash in and going to steal that championship. I really do believe it. I think that's the route they're going to go now rather than SummerSlam cash in. It just makes a lot of sense to me that that's going to be the case they go, because in my opinion, I feel like, and maybe this is debatable, but I don't want to see Gunther with gold for a long, long time. I think he is one of the best wrestlers. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I have literally him right here above my head. I just don't want to see it. And gotta be honest with you, I'd rather see something else happen. Seth Rollins is here because maybe Gunther is going to get actually cashed in on, and rather become a triple threat, then Seth Rollins will get it after his injury recovery. I don't know. Naomi. Happy Naomi's on here now, truthfully with you. You are going to see this person's face a lot, though, and that's going to be Rhea Ripley. Now, I have Rhea Ripley here as the dark horse because I think storyline-wise, it makes more sense to Bianca's going to steal it from her. I know a lot of people think Jade Cargill is going to win, and then Jade will lose it to Bianca when Jade turns heel, but I have to be honest with you, truthfully. To me, it just feels like they're setting up for WrestleMania the triple threat between the three. Maybe that happens before, but I feel like Naomi's going to lose the championship, and then it'll be a triple threat with the three of them. And then it'll likely be Rhea winning against Naomi. Or, what am I saying? Bianca winning against Naomi, Jade losing, and then the triple threat happens with this title. That's what I'm starting to think. But also at the same time, it could be Naomi loses to like Rhea, and then Bianca, Jade holds the title, and Bianca steals it that way. I keep going back and forth on this one. What do you think? Tell me what you think down in the comments below if you're watching this right here. I think it just makes sense for a heel Naomi to lose to a big babyface Bianca. That's very simple. Bianca has had a title reign. Just makes sense, doesn't it? We'll see. Dominic Mysterio, I do believe it's still somehow, some way going to be Finn Balor. I don't think AJ Styles is going to win. Maybe Finn tries. I think they're just delaying the inevitable, which is Dominic's going to lose this to Finn. Maybe it was going to happen at SummerSlam, and then the Liv Morgan injury happened. Maybe they're now delaying with Liv Morgan coming back, and it's going to be Finn with whatever. We'll see on that. I truthfully, though, I almost said this on who I think. Now that he has this title still, I think we're getting to the point that Ilya Dragunov is going to be the one to win. I just think that Ilya Dragunov is such a great talent, one of my favorite wrestlers as well, and I think he's destined for that IC title. The babyface Ilya Dragunov would go so well against the heel Dominic Mysterio. I just believe it. And I think when he comes back to his return, he's going to get a big push. I really do. And I think it could be the IC title. Up next is Becky Lynch. I think it's going to be Bayley. I don't think Lyra's going to win at SummerSlam because, to be honest with you, I don't really maybe want it to happen. And maybe I'm using personal opinion. Because I think it should be Becky winning. Lyra in the future comes back maybe in a triple threat or maybe just disturbing Becky. But I just want Bayley to have the title, and I think it makes sense to her to dethrone Becky, and then Bayley and Lyra have a feud for the future. But honestly, I think Stephanie McCare, it could be the one to steal it. Maybe she loses her Clash at Paris match, and then ultimately we have her now set up as a big threat, and then she challenges Becky Lynch and then wins the title. Or maybe it's not that, and she just goes after the world title still because she's just that good. So back and forth on that opinion, though. The Judgment Day, this is the last one. I think it's going to be Lucha Bros. I think they're going to hold it for a little bit, which is, I just don't know what's going to happen with them, really. Maybe it's a different thing. Maybe after the draft, there's a switch up here. But maybe the Usos, I could see that. This was a shock, to say the least, about the Judgment Day winning these tag titles. Maybe it is just Kofi and the New Day winning. We'll see. Other than that, if you guys enjoyed, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.